الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وقدوتنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. آمين رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Respected ulama, respected brothers and sisters in Islam. Firstly, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again. Allah has afforded us and Allah has selected us to be in this Mubarak house of Allah, in this Mubarak day of Jumu'ah. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the greatest ni'mah, that is the ni'mah of Iman. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Inna Allah yu'ati dunya liman yuhib wa liman la yuhib. And indeed Allah gives this dunya, the beauty and the wealth of this world, to those who Allah love, and sometimes to the enemy of Allah, they enjoy the best of wealth. So giving and seeing a person enjoying the best of wealth is not the sign, necessarily the sign of Allah's love for him. وَلَكِنْ يُعْطِ الدِّينِ إِلَّا لِمَنْ يُحِبُّ. But when it comes to this kalima and this ni'mah of Iman, Allah selects only those who Allah loves to be a reciter of this kalima, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this Iman, and we make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us to live with true Iman. Allah grant us that our last word should be this kalima, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When we leave this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us and grant us to be from the pious in the company of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of Qiyamah. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Ameen. My beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, as insan, we always try to be the best we can. Whether I'm a father, I would want to be the best father I could. Whether I'm a son, I would want to be the best child possible. Whether I'm an educator, whatever role we have in this dunya, ons try altyd om die beste te wees. We always want to be the best in what we do. And likewise, the same we should have when it comes to being a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to our relationship to Allah, as being the slaves of Allah, we should always want to be the best slave of Allah. And we know that the greatest in rank of the servants of Allah, as Allah mentions in the Quran, Surah Al-Hujurat, where Allah says, Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. That indeed the most honored and the best in the eyes of Allah, the most valued servant and slave in the eyes of Allah, is the one who is most conscious of Allah, the one who has the most taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the level of taqwa will determine the level of our servitude and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why Allah has placed many ways for us to attain that level of taqwa. For example, a month of Ramadan, we frequently hear the Imams and the Imams remind us that what is the purpose of Ramadan? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Allah has ordained, Allah has made Ramadan, the fasting of Ramadan, fard upon you so that you can become from the muttaqeen. But then, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, there's another way a person can reach this level of taqwa, and how a person can reach this degree and this level of being from the muttaqeen. As our ulama, as-salaf al-salih, they mention a very beautiful statement where they say that لا يبلغ العبد درجة التقى إلا إذا حاسب نفسه محاسبة الشريك الشحيح لشريكه. They mention that a person, a slave of Allah, will never reach the true level of taqwa until he takes himself to an account, like how two very stingy business people take themselves to an account. For those who are in business or those who are trading, when you're in business with someone where you need to share the profits, and you and the business partners are very stingy, you want the detailed account of every cent that comes in and goes out. You want complete transparency in our transactions, in what happens in the shop or in the business. So the ulama mentioned, like that person Like those business partners, how they strive and how they want complete transparency. They take themselves to an account. They don't want to be bothered by SARS or whoever. They see that every cent is given an account for. Like that, says the ulama, we as believers need to take ourselves to an account so that we can reach the level of taqwa. And this is something that we neglect as the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We live our life on a daily basis without reflecting on our condition, without reflecting over so many things. Then that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam informs us in a beautiful hadith, al-kayyisu man dana nafsah, that indeed the wise and the person with intellect in the eyes of Allah, the one with intellect in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the one who introspects and the one who takes himself to an account. Numerous ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraging this beautiful sunnah. And in the month of Rabiul Awwal, the month in where we speak of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the month in where we try to bring about certain new sunnahs in our life. Let the niyyah be today, Ya Rabb, that, oh Allah, today I want to bring about this sunnah of muhasabatul nafs. I want to bring this sunnah, I want to revive this sunnah in my life where I take myself to an account on a daily basis. It is mentioned Umar radiallahu anhu, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, every night before he would go sleep, he would strike his legs and he would address them and he would ask them that ma fa'alta al-yawm, that what did you do today? Where did you take me today? Where did we go today? He would speak, imagine he would speak to his limbs. And why would he do that? Why do we address our limbs and why is it important to speak to our limbs? Do me and you ever reflect that, ask yourself, what did I look at today? What did I listen to today? What did I expose myself to for today? Where did I go? What places did I go? Why? Because on the day of Qiyamah, Allah will seal the mouth and Allah will give these organs and these body parts the ability to speak. And they will give us, and they will speak either for us or against us. So we need to reflect, Umar radiallahu anhu, reflecting and asking his legs, what did you do today? And after such a reflection, obviously you will come up with answers and reflect, what did you do and where did you go? It is mentioned at the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, there was this person who always carried around a small leather pouch. And in this leather pouch he had stones. And it is mentioned in the evening, he would throw out the stones and he would count the stones. And in this bag there was white and black stones. And so the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, those companions are asking, wow, what are you doing? Every night we see you counting black and white stones. He says, no, this is an account of my deeds every day. The white stones represent good deeds and the black ones represent my sins. So every night I count how much white stones and how much black stones. So I can have an account of what is more, the good or the evil. When is the last time we counted our deeds, my beloved brothers in Islam? When is the last time we counted our good deeds and our sins? Is the good deeds more than the sins? So we need to reflect on a daily basis. As I mentioned, if we don't reflect in this dunya, a time will come where these limbs will be given the opportunity to speak. And Imam Ghazali rahimahullah beautifully explains, he says the limbs and the eyes and everything in the relation to the person itself is like Allah to the malaika. And he says that Allah instructs the malaika, and the malaika la ya'soon Allah, they don't disobey Allah. They don't have a desire of their own. They just fulfill the command of Allah. Likewise, our eyes and our ears and our limbs, Like that, they obey what we want to do. If we want to look at haram, I don't need to ask the eyes for permission. The eyes will look at it because we want to look at it. If I want to steal, I don't need to ask the hand the permission to take. The hand will take because the heart is commanded it to take. The feet, when I walk somewhere, I don't need to ask him, can we go to that place? I know it's haram, but can we go there? You don't hear the legs saying, no, Allah has made it haram. The legs obey because the heart is instructed it to go there. And that's why on the day of Qiyamah, Allah will give them the opportunity to speak. And they will speak for us or against us. May Allah make it such that they speak for us, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam. When was the last time, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, we reflected over the quality of our ibadah? We come to Masjied, sometimes 5 times a day to perform salah. When was the last time I reflected over the quality of my salah? When was the last time I reflected over how I perform salah? Abu Talha radiallahu anhu, beautiful, famous example of the Sahaba, great Sahabi of companion of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is mentioned Abu Talha radiallahu anhu, Abu Talha radiallahu anhu was performing salah. He was making the salah and in his garden, in the courtyard of his garden. And while performing salah, his eyes fell on this bird flying around and sitting in the different trees, and he's following this bird, and he got distracted in salah. He felt so bad when he realized that his mind has wandered. He immediately completes his salah and he goes and he rushes down to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, I was performing my salah and this bird distracted me in salah. This bird distracted me in salah. And he says to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, I am going to give this entire garden as sadaqah, kafaratan lidhalik. I want to give this entire garden of mine that distracted me from the obedience of Allah. I want to give it in sadaqah as a means, as expiation for that sin I've committed. Why? Because his mind wandered in salah. When we perform salah, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, imagine if Allah had to make it such that whatever comes to your mind of worldly things, you need to give it away. Imagine you had to give away whatever distracts you in salah. None of us would have houses. None of us would have wives, would have children, would have clothing. We will be completely like people who don't own nothing. Why? Because these are the things that distract us in our salah. Our minds wander in salah. Like this person always tells, the one Sheikh made the joke, he says that when the Imam made salah for dhuhr, and after the salah, there's a big dispute in the masjid. Half of the masjid said he made 3 rak'at, the other half said no, he made 4 rak'at. And the dispute carries on, and one person says, you know, I'm sure the Imam only made 3 rak'at. So I asked him, how are you so sure? He said, no, I've got 4 shops. For every rak'ah I think of one of them. I never got to the 4th one yet. This is the condition of our salah as well. This is the condition. Sometimes we think of our children, and sometimes we think of work. Sometimes we're not even shy to say, I got this idea in salah. I got this idea in salah. That is even in the time of Rasul, Sahabi radiallahu anhu. He came to, I think it's Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu. He said his salah, he was distracted in salah. So I asked him, what distracted you in salah? He said, no, he was thinking of the day of Qiyamah. He was thinking of the day of Qiyamah, that distracted him in salah. Imagine. Thinking of the day of Qiyamah distracted him in his salah. What do we think? What occupies our minds and our hearts in salah? Sometimes we're in the masjid, but our hearts are outside the masjid. Sometimes we make sujood in the masjid, but our hearts are making sajda somewhere else. That's why we find, as soon as the Imam says, Assalamu alaikum, we're quickly out of the masjid. Why? Our heart has been out of the masjid a long time. So how is our level and quality of ibadah we perform to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? My beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, when was the last time we pondered over the ni'mas and bounties Allah has bestowed upon us? ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. On the day of Qiyamah, we will have to give an account of every blessing we experience in this dunya. Every ni'mah that we experience in this dunya, Allah will take us to an account for it. Do I reflect over the bounties of Allah? As Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Adiyat, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٌ. That insan is indeed very ungrateful to Allah. And what did our Mufassirun mention when they speak about lakanud? They say, what does it mean? That Allah says the servants of Allah are very ungrateful. They say they always see what is missing. That is how our nature is. The wife, we're going to have lovely lunch after Jumu'ah. We eat the lunch. The first thing we're missing, we say there's no salt in the food. We forget about the lovely chicken and potatoes and the roti and everything on the table. Yet we miss the salt and we complain about the salt. So insan always sees what is missing. And that is what makes us ungrateful. And not only that, the ulama has mentioned, also they use the bounties and ni'mas of Allah in the disobedience of Allah. That same thing which is supposed to be a blessing and ni'mah for him to use it to move closer to Allah, he uses it to move further away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah is the one who sustains, Allah is the one who gives continuously. Even in our disobedience, Allah still gives. It is mentioned in the tafsir, Imam al-Razi mentioned in the tafsir, وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. There is not a living creature in this dunya except that his sustenance is provided by Allah. Obviously we make the effort, but Allah is the one who decrees sustenance. And he mentioned the story of Nabi Musa alayhi salam. When Allah instructs, and when the time when Nabi Musa alayhi salam, he speaks to Allah for the first time, and Allah gives him the responsibility of nubuwwat, and Allah instructs him to go to Fir'aun and to preach to Fir'aun. Musa alayhi salam, after receiving the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the command and the responsibility from Allah, he remembers and he realizes, he thinks about the well-being of his family that he left behind, which is natural for a person. He thinks about the well-being of his family, and who's going to care for them, who's going to look after them. And Allah wants to teach Nabi Musa alayhi salam the lesson that Allah is the one who ultimately looks after our needs. Allah instructs Nabi Musa alayhi salam, oh Musa, hit the stone. Musa alayhi salam hit the stone, and the stone splits open. Second stone appears. Allah instructs him, hit the second stone. Another stone, smaller stone appears. And Musa hit the third stone, and in this third stone, Musa alayhi salam sees a small little worm eating a piece of grass. And Allah removes, وَرُفِعَ الْحِجَابَ عَنْ سَمْعِ Musa, Allah removes the barrier of the hearing. Allah made it such that Musa can hear, alayhi salam, could hear what the worm is saying. So Allah mentioned that everything in the heavens and earth make the tasbih of Allah. Every animal, every living plant make the tasbih of Allah. It is me and you that don't have the ability to hear the tasbih. So Allah removes the barrier from the hearing of Musa alayhi salam, and he hears this little worm praising Allah by saying, Subhana man yarani, all praise is due to Allah, glory be to Allah, the one who sees me. وَيَسْمَعُ كَلَامِي, he hears my speech, he hears me praising him. وَيَعْرِفُ مَكَانِي, Allah knows my place and position in this dunya. وَيَذْكُرُنِي وَلَا يَنْسَانِي, and Allah remembers me and never forgets me. So this is a small little worm, 3 barriers of rock. Allah looks after him and gives him his food to eat. He praises Allah in such a beautiful manner. Every day, me and you, we eat, we drink. When was the last time I praised Allah? Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he used to eat his food, one of the sunnah du'as that Rasulullah used to make is Alhamdulillah alladhi at'amani wa saqani. All praise is due to Allah, the one who fed me and the one who gave me to drink. There's one dua that goes further where Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, وَسَوَّغَنِي وَجَعَلَ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. And he has given me, and praise is due to Allah, the one who has given me the ability to chew this food and swallow it. Allah. And the one who has granted the exit for this food. After it is, goes through the process in our stomach. When was the last time we thought about it? When was the last time we thanked Allah? When we go to the bathroom and we have the discomfort and suddenly Allah removes it. Suddenly we feel the relief, but yet we give recognition to other than Allah. The bounties and ni'mas Allah bestow upon us on a daily basis, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam. We need to acknowledge the favors and ni'mas of Allah. We need to think about it. We need to thank Allah and praise Allah for it. Because why? If we don't do that, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, we will not show gratitude for the ni'mas and bounties of Allah. We will not show gratitude for the bounties of Allah. And that's why every ni'mah, everything we experience, we will be questioned regarding it on the day of Qiyamah. One day Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, regarding end up with this, one day when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, under the tafsir of the ayah of Surah Takathur, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ, it is mentioned that one day Umar radiallahu anh found Abu Bakr outside at night. And he asked Abu Bakr, Ya Abu Bakr, what is the reason for you being out this time of the night? He says, Oh Umar, hunger is the thing that brought me out. They're going through drought and difficulty. He says, hunger is the thing that brought me out of my home. There's nothing inside, nothing for me to eat. Have we ever experienced such a feeling? Yet we complain. Yet we complain. He says, hunger is the thing that brought me out. And Abu Bakr asked, Ya Umar, what brought you out this time of the night? He says, Ya Abu Bakr, the same thing that brought you out brought me also out. That's not all, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam. Few minutes later, they saw our beloved Rasulullah also coming. And they asked, Ya Rasulullah, what are you doing out this time of the night? Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, hunger brought me also out. The beloved of Allah going through such hunger pains. When is the last time we felt hungry? Today we eat because we're not hungry. We live to eat. We don't eat to live. Most of the time when we eat, it's not because I'm hungry, not because of the time I must eat. So Rasulullah says, the hunger brought me out. And one of the Ansar, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you go visit him, imagine Rasulullah and Abu Bakr and Umar knock on your door. Imagine the greatest of people in this dunya knock at your door. And this Ansar, companion of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he felt so honored. He immediately let Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companion Abu Bakr and Umar sit down. He brought a bunch of dates for them to eat. He slaughtered one of his last goats for Rasulullah. He roasted it. And when the time came for them to enjoy this food, Rasulullah reminded his companions, reminded Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, reminded Umar radiallahu anhu, he reminded that Sahabi radiallahu Ansari radiallahu anhu. He says, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ, that on the day of Qiyamah you will be questioned regarding this favor Allah has given to us as well. This that we enjoying of this food, this lovely food that is presented to us, on the day of Qiyamah you're going to give account to it. And that's why Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that the poor people, they will go before the rich people half a day. They will go half a day earlier to Jannah. But the half a day is equal to 500 years. So one Shaykh was saying, why is it unfair? What about the rich person who spends so much in the path of Allah? Why must he wait for the poor? Why can't he go before the poor person? So the Shaykh wanted him to understand. The Shaykh says, we go to ShopRite or Spar, wherever you go. If you shop 2 trolleys and your poor brother came with half a basket, you're standing in the line to go pay. Who's going quicker through the line? The one with the 2 trolleys or the one with the 1 trolley? With the basket. He said, no, with the one with the basket is flying through. You got 1 bread, milk, cheese, finish. You pay, give answer to it and he leaves. The one with the 2 trolleys, you need to give an account. They need to ring every product, every product. So the more we have, the more we will be questioned. And what we have, my beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If we have to count the ni'mas of Allah, we won't be able to count it. So we need to take an account. And what is the objective of taking ourselves to an account? We end up with a beautiful statement of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, where he says that حَاسِبُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ قَبْلَ أَن تُحَاسَبُوا. Why do we need to take ourselves to an account? Why? Because before we will be taken to an account by Allah on the day of Qiyamah. وَزِنُوا أَعْمَالَكُمْ قَبْلَ أَن تُوزَنُوا. And weigh your deeds, check the quality of your deeds before Allah will weigh it on the day of Qiyamah. If we don't weigh our deeds, one day will come and Allah will weigh it. If we are not interested in the sincerity of my ibadah, if I'm not interested in how I make my salah, how I make my ruku, that's why Rasulullah says a person will make ruku for 70, 60 years and Allah won't even accept his salah because he's doing it incorrect. So how am I performing salah? Taking account of our deeds, weighing our deeds, so that on the day of Qiyamah it will be easier for us. It will be easier for us. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a tawfiq and understanding. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who will try our best to bring this into our life, where on a daily basis we reflect over the ni'mas and favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.